Good morning and welcome to our study. I want to say hi to Ken and Lauren and whoever starts to join the group eventually. We're going to start off with the bracha. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Okay, and we're going to start right here. Okay, there we go. All right. Let's see where we are at. Okay. Here we are. We're actually on Daled, verse Daled. Right? V'zeh ma'aseh ha-menorah. And this is how the menorah was made. Okay. Miksha zahav. One solid piece of gold. And by the way, the zeh is the indicative pronoun, right? And so they will explain that when you say zeh or zot, you are pointing to something. That's why when you say v'zot ha-Torah, you point to the Torah. So, all right, onwards. Ad yerecha. So I'd probably have to look up. Yerech usually means something like the length, okay? But it could have a different meaning, and I'd need to look it up. Lauren, if you have a Chumash handy and just want to look at the English.
But it's not thigh, huh?
Say that again? No. It could be. It could actually be linked to a word that is linked to thigh. All right. By the way, you're reminding me. Remember, I believe you asked me about the derivation of the word Sinai.
Yeah, but
that it has
hatred.
To do with hatred. So I actually this is sort of considered a very good sign. I was studying my Talmud and came across the locus classicus of that. And basically it talked about the hatred of idolatry, okay? Because it says, Ani Hashem Elokecha, Hashoret Seiti, you should have no other gods before me. Mm-hmm. All right, there was another reason as well, which escapes me right now. But it was in the chapter called Rabbi Akiva in Mesechet Shabbat. I'd have to go back and look it up. So, but I would think Yerecha would have to do with its length, something like that. Its limbs, in other words, including its, although these are called the kanim, these parts are called the kanim, I believe. But what it's trying to describe is the entirety of it. Ad pircha, so perach, of course, we know means flowers, and what it had, again, I can't draw them here, but there were these cups that were there were 3 cups along each one of these things, and they had blossoms like almond blossoms or almond petals, I think, sort of etched on them, or not etched, but embossed on them, I think would be a more accurate way to say it. And we'll see. Rashi may explain it, okay? Mikshahi, it was of one block, one piece. Kemar'eh, according to the design or the diagram, mar'eh is a sight, something you see, right? From ra'ah, to see. Asher her'ah Hashem et Moshe, which Hashem showed Moses. So in other words, God gave Moses a picture of the menorah. He didn't just describe it to Moses. He showed him a picture of it. Kain asa et menorah. Thus he made the menorah, the candlestick. Okay. Did you find a translation for Yerecha?
Well, it's interesting what I found. So I'm looking at it because it broke up that verse into several sentences in the Eitz Chaim, and I'm looking at in the JPS.
Yes, that is the JPS, right, by the way, in the Eitz Chaim.
What?
It is the JPS translation in the Eitz Chaim. They do use it.
Well, you're right. So what it says for verse 4 is, now this is how the lampstand was made.
Yes.
It was hammered work of gold.
Okay.
Hammered from base to petal.
Oh, so maybe
according to the pattern that the Lord had shown Moses, so was the lampshade made. That's all verse 4.
Okay. All right. Better English than what I was providing, for sure. Well, let's take a look at Rashi and see what he says, okay?
I don't understand what it's translating that word as still.
Base. Base. Yerecha, Yerech, it's saying, I don't think it's an easy word to translate. They're translating it as base, and Pircha as petal, okay? Let's take a look at Rashi and see. He certainly did an amazing job before, okay? V'zeh ma'aseh hamenorah. So this is the point. Her'ahu HaKadosh Baruch Hu be'etzba. The Holy One, blessed be He, showed him with his finger, okay? Lefi shenit kasheba, because Moses had difficulty visualizing it, okay? So, all right. So I have, what happens is people, watch a second and then they just stop watching. Doesn't interest them enough. Okay. L'chach ne'emar v'zeh. That's why the word v'zeh is included in the sentence. Because it could just say, Ma'aseh menorah miksha zahav. The design of the menorah was, I guess they're saying, beaten gold. Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay, no, this is what he says, right? Miksha. He uses a French word, batteuse, something like that. Geschlagen means beaten. That is what the Yiddish geschlagen means. And this is the old French word, okay? Lashon da leda nakshan. So it's an Aramaism, and he gets it from Daniel chapter 5. Book of Daniel, to a great extent, is written in Aramaic, in biblical Aramaic, and it says it was beating one to the other. Okay, nakshan. So I would have to say, there we go. Eshet shel kikar zahav, a block of 1 talent of gold, haita, it started off that way, umakish bekornas, and he beats with a mallet, vechotech bechashil, and he cuts it up with an axe. Okay, in other words, he uses a sharp, something like an axe because it has a sharp point to it to sort of smack into the, to divide it up, to smack into these parts, right? Okay, to be able to do these parts and shape it. Lefashet evareha, to spread apart its limbs, ketikunan, as it is done. In other words, as goldsmiths know how to do, as is their practice, or the way they needed to be. Ketikunan, the way the limbs of the menorah had to be. Velo ne'eset evarim al yedei chibur, and it was the limbs of it, okay, were not pieced to it by soldering it. Chibur means connection, by connecting the pieces together. No, different word.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh no, you're right.
Oh,
No. Sorry. No.
Okay.
You're right. No. You're right. Both absolutely related words. Yes. Chaver means to be connected to someone. If I'm your chaver, it means I'm connected to you. We have a relation.
Isn't that spelled with a chaf?
It's spelled with a chet. It's correct.
Oh, okay.
Chet beit resh. That's No. You're absolutely right. Okay. Ad yerecha ad pircha. So again, Rashi is saying, Mordechai, I know you need to understand what this Hebrew is, and I know it's difficult, so I'm going to explain to you what this Hebrew means. Okay? Klomar. Okay, so look at this. He says, Gufa shel menorah. Rashi says, it is the body of the menorah. The body would probably be this, right? Mm-hmm. The body of the menorah. Sorry, I'm trying to. Okay. Am I missing? I think I may have missed a line. Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, Yerecha, he says Hashida. Okay, it's Hashida she'al haraglaim, harigalim. Okay, I still think he's talking about this. Okay. But a shida, I'm not sure if it's a box, okay, and that could be this little part here that was, on these little legs, this part, okay. Chalul kederech menorot kesef, it is hollowed out as is the practice with silver candlesticks, shelifnei hasarim, which stand before princes. So we're talking about these huge, huge candlesticks. Ad yerecha ad pircha, so ad plomar, that is to say, gufa shel menorah, the body of the menorah, kula, all of it, v'chol hatalui ba, and everything that was connected to it. Ooh, didn't need to do that.
Look at that.
Yes.
Well, he made that yesterday.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, no, it wasn't on the printed page. But I take that as a compliment, Ken. Okay. All right.
With computer tools.
Yes. So look, ad yerecha, again, working with this word yerecha, yerech, shehu ever gadol. We're talking about a large limb. So again, I'm back to this, right? Ad pircha, shehu maaseh dak. This is something that is made, that is thin. Sheba hakol mikdak sheba. Sorry, the sheba, that is the thin parts of it. Pircha. Maaseh dak sheba. It's talking about the thin parts of the menorah, or the fine parts of the menorah. Hakol miksha. Everything was beaten out. The derech ad, and it is you use the word ad, okay, l'shamesh belashon zeh, to operate in this way, okay. In other words, from to, I think is what he's saying. Ad means from here, from the main part of the menorah to its finest little details. Perhaps is what he's saying. Okay. Kamor, and he gives an example, Shoftim Tetvav, Judges chapter 15, Migadish v'ad kama. So I think it means from the, these are words that I should write in because I don't remember. God, it has to do with harvesting grain, okay? And kama means standing grain. And it could have v'ad kerem zayit, and olive yard, okay, an olive grove. Kerem zayit is an olive, right? Kerem zayit, olive groves. So it must be talking about some kind of, I don't know. You need to look. It could be Samson. Pardon?
Gadish, it says heaping right here when I'm looking, because it says there's a moshav named Gadish that means heaping.
Right. Well, Gadish, Maleva Gadish, I think means like a overflowing, something like that. But let me look it up. I'll look and see. I'm wondering if it's talking about the story of Samson, because it's in Shoftim. So let me look quickly and see if I can find it. I'm so sorry. This is my lack of preparation.
Oh, Shoftim.
Yep, it is definitely about Samson. Well, I got that right at least. Here we go. It's where he caught the foxes and set fire to their tail. Yeah, the standing grain, setting fire to stacked grain, standing grain, vineyards and olive trees.
Yeah, stacked and heaped like a big bale of hay or something, or
yes,
a hay stack or something.
Sounds good. Okay. Kamar asher her'ah. This is that statement, just as God had shown him, right? Kitavnit asher, according to the pattern. That's tavnit. The pattern asher erahu, which he showed him, Bahar, on the mountain, Mount Sinai, right? Kamosh Ne'emar, as it states in Exodus 25, it may be ur'eh v'aseh v'tavnitam, look and make it according to its pattern. I'm guessing the vowels here, okay? That it's imperative.
It makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. I'd have to go back, obviously, to 25.
Or
Cain,
if you looked in, yeah.
I'm sorry. Cain asa.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Lauren. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh wow. B. Sorkin was watching. I'm sorry she didn't stay on. She. Okay. All right. Yeah. Normally it'll show me if someone's actually watching, but she must not be watching anymore. That's sweet that B. Sorkin would be watching. Okay. Okay. So, thus he made. So he made the menorah. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Did you skip?
No.
Okay.
No. According to the pattern which he showed in the mountain, etc.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You're right. No. Okay. Yeah. And we said. Right, Re'eh v'aseh b'tavnitam, that we're guessing that it's not the Ra'ah.
Line,
Her'ah?
That word. Yep, no, the word before that.
Her'ah?
Okay.
Yeah, it's from the verse. Kamar'eh asher her'ah. Here we go.
And then...
Okay. Kamar'eh asher her'ah.
And then what's the next word?
V'gomer?
Oh, okay.
Etc. The Gomers, etc. Yeah.
That's where we are.
Yes. So, I don't know if B is still watching. I do have someone watching right now. If you want to identify yourself, thank you. It's great to have you. So, all right. So we got Et HaMenorah, Cain Asa Et HaMenorah.
No, I think we're after the Gomer. I don't think we did that part.
Okay, so you listen and you'll see. Ketavnit asher herahu bahar, according to the pattern which he showed him in the mountain.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so we're here.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. Cain asa et ha-menorah, thus he made the menorah. Mi asa, okay. Who made it? Okay. Umidrash Agadah, and the Midrash, in other words, he's saying now Midrash, Al Yedei HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ne'eseit Me'aleha. He's saying there's a Midrash that says that the Holy One, by means of the Holy One, blessed be He, it was made of its own. So he's understanding Asa Et HaMenorah, he's understanding it sort of as, thus he made the menorah, he being Hashem. Right? So listen to the sentence. According to according to what God showed Moses, he thus made the menorah. So who's the he?
Yeah, I get it.
Yep, okay. So, but clearly, very, if you just look at the instructions of how the menorah was made, it's very, very complicated. Okay. End of that little part. Vaidaber Hashem. Sorry, let me do this. Okay, I just want to keep an eye on time. Vaidaber Hashem el Moshe lemor. So obviously new subject, right? The Hashem spoke to Moses saying, Kach et haleviim, take the Levites, mitoch bnei Yisrael, from the children of Israel, v'tiharta otam, and purify them. So let's take a look. Kach et haleviim, take the Levites. Kachem, so take them. What do you mean take them? Rashi clarifies. Kachem bidvarim. Take them with words. Use words to take them. Ashreichem shetisku. Happy is your portion that you merit. Liyot shamashim lamakom, that you are servants to the Holy One, blessed be He. That you will be the shamashim, the ones to serve God. Okay. So kach means with words. V'chot ta'aseh lahem l'taharam, and thus you shall do to them in order to purify them. Hazeh alehem mei chatat, sprinkle upon them the waters of Chatat. Generally, that refers to later on in Numbers, where we read about the ashes of the red heifer. That is my understanding of Mechatat. Ve'eviru ta'ar al kol b'saram, and cause a razor to pass over their entire flesh. Ve'chibsu, and let them. Sorry, give me a second here. Vigdehem, and let them wash their clothes. Ve'hiteharu, so that they become pure, so that they are purified. None of this stuff is easy, I have to say, right? All right, here we go. So some good comment here, apparently. Okay, Vehiza, sorry. Yeah, Hazeh, sorry, I was just trying to make sure I read this word correctly. Hazeh alehem me chatat. Sprinkle on them the waters of chatat, lustration, as sometimes how it's translated. There we go. Shel efer hapara, that is of the ashes of the heifer. Mipnei tim'ei meitim shebahem, on account of those who have contracted corpse impurity amongst them, because that's what mechatat comes to purify. Ve'eviru ta'ar, and cause a razor to pass over. Matzati, this is somebody Rashi quotes from time to time, Rabbi Moshe HaDarshan. He quotes him, and usually he comes up with really cool interpretations from whoever this Rabbi Moshe HaDarshan was. So, this is Rashi personally talking to us. I found Matzati b'divrei Rabbi Moshe HaDarshan, in the words of Rabbi Moshe HaDarshan. We're probably talking about a book, right? Some book, manuscript perhaps, that I assume it's a manuscript. I don't think printing was invented until after Rashi. Do you remember when printing was invented, Ken or Lauren?
1400s.
1400s?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So that's a little after Rashi, right?
Yeah.
It's 1200s. Okay. Lefi shenatnu kapara.
I looked up, by the way, Rabbi Moshe.
Yes.
He was the chief of the yeshiva of Narbonne.
That makes sense. Lovely. Thank you. I never did the research. Lovely. Yeah, it would have been one of the yeshivas that Rashi attended, I'm assuming. Right?
Well, it doesn't necessarily list him as one of his students, but he would have, even if they weren't printing bound books, they could still write that and people can read.
Of course. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. They had many scribes, Okay. So, I found in the words of Rabbi Moshe HaDarshan, this is what in other words, quote, Lefi shenitnu kapara al habechorot, because the Levites were an atonement for the firstborn, she'avdu avodat elilim, who worshipped the golden calf. Remember, originally, the people who were supposed to minister to God were the firstborn males. And what happened was this is clarified in Numbers,
right,
in the early parts, right?
The
Levites
didn't.
Correct. The Levim didn't, and so the Levim were chosen en masse. Okay. Vehi, let's go in here. Kruya zivchei meitim. It's so amazing, right? Such a great expression. Worshipping idols is termed zivchei, the offerings or the sacrifices of the dead. V'hamitzorah karei meit, and likewise the leper is also referred to as dead. Yes, a leper is referred to in that way because when Miriam contracts leprosy, Moses either Aaron appeals to Moses and says, she shouldn't be like someone dead. His kikam ha-galachat. The Levites were therefore required or bound to be shaved. kemetzoraim, as are lepers, because part of the I think first of all that when the leper purifies himself, if you go back to Leviticus at the end of that Metzorah, of the tractate Metzorah, you'll see that part of the Levite's purification process is that he has to shave off all his hair.
So, do they have to keep themselves shaved? I mean, were the Levites
No, just the one time. No, remember this was part of the cleansing process. So it wasn't that they constantly had to shave all the hair off their body. It was just, at least this is my understanding. I could be wrong, but my sense is this was a one-time deal to bring the Levites, to purify the Levites into their service. You follow me? So
but it said that it was related to Tameh Mate or
yes.
Tumah Mate or whatever.
Correct.
So two things I don't understand.
Okay.
Because there were just some people that had contracted this tumah, they all had to get shaven, A.
Yes.
And B,
yes.
Does that mean any time a Levi might come in contact with a dead and contract mate that they would have to be shaven again?
No. Okay. So this contract with the dead could have happened unknowingly to certain Levites, even though they were not all subject to that impurity. So, number one, it would be difficult to identify specific Levites who would have required the mechatat. So instead of trying to figure that out, or possibly humiliating anybody, the tribe went en masse when they were being consecrated to this task, to go through and be sprinkled on the third and the seventh day. It's a 7-day cleansing process. So the entire tribe was, at that point, sprinkled. If subsequently a Levite, as is in the case of any Israelite, were to come in contact with the dead, they would be required to have the mechatat sprinkled on them. But especially the Levites, more than any Israelite, because the Levites were working in the temple precinct, and to enter the temple precinct, you cannot be defiled by corpse defilement. Is that making sense to you, Lauren?
Kind of, but I'm not really sure still about why the shaving as opposed to the normal means of...
All right. The shaving has nothing to do with, I believe, with the corpse defilement. The shaving has to do now with a second issue, and that is, again, it all has to do, in this case, with the fact that the firstborn worshiped the golden calf at Mount Sinai, and that the Levites were replacing them. And someone who worships an idol is termed as dead. Okay? That's either metaphorically or halachically, or I don't think halachically, but nevertheless, the term dead is applied to that person. And part of one who suffers leprosy is also referred to as dead. Okay, we have this concept of death associated both with idolatry and leprosy. And part of the cleansing process of the leper involves the leper shaving all his hair off.
But are they saying that when Levi'im took the place of the firstborn, that they contracted some type of...
No, not here. They're just...
I don't understand why the Levi'im are shaven. I don't get the connection.
Okay, to emphasize the fact that they were a kapara for the firstborn. In other words, I mean, let's put it this way. If you never read the Bible, would you have realized that originally that the concept of having a tribe of Levi do their service was actually plan B?
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Right. So ideally, it would have been the firstborn. That every person would have the privilege of dedicating their firstborn to serve God.
Okay, so the switch
right
was an atonement.
Correct.
And as an instrument of atonement, they had to be specifically very pure, and the shaving was part of that.
Correct. It was part of saying, because shaving was the way in which the leper was saying goodbye to his leprosy, right? I would say that the shaving of the Levites was conveying atonement for the sin of the firstborn.
Question.
Yes.
Did they have mikvahs at that point?
Very good question. So they could use natural pools for mikvahs. Any standing water would, for most types of impurity, would work. Okay, so if they were at an oasis or something like that, whether they had, I know that they had, of course, the laver in front where they would wash their hands and their feet, but that is not a mikvah. Okay, so somehow or other there had to be well, it doesn't talk about them being put in the mikveh, by the way. And the water, the mechatat, were sprinkled on them. They didn't immerse in the mechatat. Right? Going to the mikveh is for specific kinds of impurity as part of a purification process.
And I'm reading that the first mikvot, as far as we know, were in the 1st century BCE.
Well, ones that were constructed, yes. But they would have been. But as I said, you could go if you went into a cave and there was a pool in the cave. You could absolutely use that as a mikveh.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. So I think, Lauren, thank you for your questions, because you actually helped me in explaining the significance of the Levites being shaved. Using interpreting the words of Rabbi Moshe Hadarshan to explain the significance and how it worked.
Well, you did a good job. I mean, I think it sounded plausible, what your answer, and I'm glad you sorted it.
No, and I appreciate it. What you did was you sort of helped me break it down further, which I needed to do, by your questions. So it sort of prompted me to sort of break it down to clarify it. Okay. So, I'm going to turn off the Facebook page. We're going to actually daven Shachrit right now. So I'm turning off the Facebook page. Please let me know.
I think Jim wants to say something.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me just end the Facebook, okay? So I just want to mention, whoever is watching, if you could let me know, just send a comment or something, or even just, like, something like that. That way I'll know who was watching. Thank you. Take care now. And God willing, we will meet tomorrow.